is my extreme pleasure to introduce the elegant David Ciminello, a class of 2011 Lambda Fellow in Fiction.
I'm going to read a short excerpt from a manuscript that I'm working on, the title of which is The Queen of Coney Island. This piece concerns 15-year-old bisexual future burlesque queen Bella Donna Marie Donato. It takes place in 1935, Passaic, New Jersey. Swell. Everything about her expanded. It all got bigger. She filled like with water. When would she rupture? She thought somehow it would be different than it was. She couldn't imagine carrying another human being, growing, expanding, swelling for 9 long months inside her. The first few months, it was still an it, was easy to hide, even from herself. "Are you falling in love with me?" it asked her. "No." "Even a little?" "No." "Will you ever?" "Not if I can help it." At night, and even during the day, for she slept a lot during the day, she had the strangest dreams. You were there, and you were there, and you, and you. Whales swam over the water, riding large swells of salty sea. Giant walls of greenness rose up to the stars, reached out to find where the sun went at night, where the moon floated to during the day, questions she had asked herself when she was a little girl. "My God," she prayed in the first pew at St. Anthony's on Tuesdays when no one else was in the church. "Jesus," she called to the ridiculous painting of the sexy Christ that hung behind the altar. Those were tears around his head, not thorns, but a crown of 7 5-pointed gold charms, holy orbs of Roman Catholicism. Jesus jewels. "Jesus," she called to the face that meant more to her than anyone else's. "There is something swelling inside me." For a moment or two here, we are going to go back to the gush that came out of the boy she fucked on the floor of that kitchen on Kruger Place. She had dug her nails deep into his back, then the undercracks of his ass. Her fingers even played with his hole. The moist, tight tug of its walls gave her fingers, the moist, tight tug of its walls gave her fingers, when she dug into him, a wicked little warning. Here it comes. Here comes the money. She had struck crude oil. It gushed out of him. An entire ocean of it popped out of his swollen mushroom. "Friends," the preacher's call came, "I am here to tell you that the richness you all so richly deserve will come to you when you least expect it. God's voice will sing to you. He will grab you with his big hands, and your heart will swell with his love." Could it be the Great Depression was finally over? "We're in the money, we're in the money." "Christ," she said, "Christ, something horrible is happening to me." 1, her shoes stopped fitting her feet. 2, she couldn't get her mother's wedding ring to slide over any of her fingers. Did the hug of that boy's bunghole ruin everything? And 3, her tits swelled like 2 blowfish. They swelled something terrible. Their purple lips cried for someone to feed them. 1 itched all over. 2, in the oddest of places. 3, her insides shifted. And 4, her brain felt like it was melting. With the swelling of the waves, the ones that brought the whales and the starfish and the jellyfish and the hagfish and those goddamn blowfish, came an undertow of choral warnings. A pack of munchkins. Children they starved, she had heard, all of them holding giant lollipops and plastic flowers, swelled around her and sang this little song. "Welcome to womanhood," they sang. "Here you go down the golden brick road to a forest of sea slugs and evergreens, to a place where abandonment reigns and sex screams, to a storm of nickels, to a broomstick and a bucket of water." Then a reunion, it seems. After her first trimester, she bloomed like a rose. Petal upon petal opened inside her, and the clouds of her perfume that swelled off her collected packs of dogs. They trailed after her down Van Houten Avenue, first 1, then 10, then 30. The female's own swollen teats, raisin-sized nipples, scraped the pavement. Seated in her pew, in front of her beautiful Christ, she made a major decision. "Christ," she said, I'm going to kill this baby before it's born.
Ooh.